Before starting my own practice, I worked in a large academic medical system. I began offering telephone psychotherapy to housebound patients alongside my role serving over 6,500 individuals in an outpatient medical clinic. Transitioning to independent practice was challenging. Working alone, I initially struggled with feelings of insecurity and shame around asking for help. I often joke that though I grow a lot of my own food, if I had to rely on myself for sustenance, I would starve. In asking for help, a person must make herself vulnerable and seemingly cede power. Interestingly, when a person asks for help, she gains power by acting in collaboration with someone else. My partner supported me in establishing my own practice by taking over responsibility, being the primary breadwinner. As a result, I was allowed the privilege of sabbatical, and I did not have to worry about keeping a roof over my head and keeping peanut butter on the table. I'm vegetarian. In addition, he listened openly, honestly, and with a lot of love to some of my struggles trying to find community. I felt during this time, I felt altogether proud, but also very unsure of myself. I was endeavoring to do something as an individual, whereas previously I had worked as an integral part of a larger team. It was very easy for me to ask my partner to take over responsibility, and they gladly agreed. We support ourselves as individuals, each other as a couple, and the larger community we serve by working in concert.
Back in, I think it was 8th grade, when I was in this summer program called Breakthrough. I was going through a rough time because this was just after quarantine. I was really feeling down and I was really isolated and I lost the skill of communication and I needed somebody to help me. And I asked one of the teachers, who was an English teacher, her name was Teacher Jordan. I asked her to help and she listened to everything I had to say. I was really big into poems at the time, so she read every poem, and then her reading them helped me realize that your feelings have power, and you can turn those feelings into powerful stories. And if I didn't ask for help that day, it would be so much different. I probably would be a whole different person. That kind of gave me the confidence going into high school that I could actually contribute.
I asked my dad for help on an essay. I asked him to look over it. When I was thinking about asking him, I was nervous that he was gonna say something bad about it. And when I told him, I went away after and just got him read over it. I didn't sit next to him because I didn't want to see what he was writing at the time, because I didn't want to see anything too bad about it. But then after he was done, I looked over it, and even if it was something bad, it was nothing directly bad. It was always just trying to advice or constructive criticism, trying to help.
With baseball, there's only 9 people that can start in a game, so everybody's trying to do their best to be better than the next person to try to get that starting spot. There was a time when I was the starting third baseman on the team, and there was someone else that was coming up trying to take my spot, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be good enough to keep it, so I was trying my hardest. I asked my dad for some help. I'm not very good with confrontation. I'm terrible with it. Anytime I have to ask for anything that's sort of would be a difficult conversation possibly, I have to text it. I can't do it in person. It's too scary for me. And so I'd say in the moment it was very difficult, but he made it very comfortable. Being kind, being open, we talked, we practiced, and he helped me improve to keep my spot. It took me a long time to ask for help, but when I did ask for help, it made everything a million times better. So don't be scared to ask for help.
My mother, being a single mother, She worked a lot, and I didn't really ask her for things like that. And I knew that because there's this thought too, because of the cultural difference, that her background growing up in Haiti would be so different than mine. So I just didn't think to bring those things to her. That skill at knowing what help people need, like that's something that just can always get better, right? So I want to acknowledge, like, yeah, there's so much more, and there's so much more needs, I think, like learning to be aware of, and people are being more open to speaking about their needs. Yeah, but I definitely think it helps. You know, there isn't a strong culture of men asking for help when they need it. Luckily, I have great friends, and a lot of them ask me, like, hey, how are you really doing? And that can be like a moment where I'm like, oh, yeah, actually, can we talk?
Like, I was raised around a bunch of Caribbean women who were just like, we're going to do it on our own. We don't need anybody to really help us. My grandma had a bunch of sisters that would help her, but my mom didn't really have anybody. It's just her. So I think she was so much more like hyper independent on terms of working. I'm trying to work on that. Seeing and growing up with somebody very hyper independent has made me very hyper independent. I sometimes feel bad because I feel like I should be asking somebody to help me out. I should be, and I'm not. I also think in like Caribbean households it's very like taboo to go to like therapy and like mental health advocates and things of that nature. It's very, you go to church, you pray about it, God will help you out about it. And as an adult, I finally was just like, oh, I don't have to ask my parents to go to therapy. I can do it on my own. Am I better than I was as a kid and a teenager asking for help? Yes. But I'm still learning.